Blackbird is the world's fastest, most agile cloud video platform and enables secure lightning-fast editing and distribution of video content by anyone, anytime, anywhere in this fast-paced, need-it-now world. Video has been slow to move to the cloud. It's been expensive, clunky, and difficult to view, edit, and publish at speed. With Blackbird, production teams have fast access to video for editing and distributing content wherever they are. Whether you work in sports, esports, news, or simply deal with large amounts of video, live and non-live video can be published for broadcast, OTT, VOD, and social media faster than any other solution. Blackbird dramatically reduces the time it takes to get video highlights and clips to your viewers. Designed for the cloud, the Blackbird codec is the ultimate for responsiveness, agility, and quality, saving you time and money. Blackbird is fully interoperable with your current infrastructure and very cost-effective to deploy across any size of business. Blackbird is already trusted by many of the world's leading media companies. Blackbird, the world's fastest, most agile cloud video platform. Contact us today at blackbird.video.
Welcome to SVG Europe Sports OTT Forum 2020, sponsored by Panasonic. My name is Will Strauss. I'm an editor at SVG Europe. Our first guest today is Anouk Mertens. A former producer and VP of television, Anouk is the Chief Operating Officer at 11 Sports, the award-winning global live and on-demand sports content provider. Having established 11 Sports in the Belgian market and created the foundations for a good and sustainable business, Anouk was promoted to COO of the 11 Group in November 2018. Her core responsibilities include managing budgets, tracking market performance, identifying opportunities for 11 to enter new territories and launch new services. 11's OTT platform is at the core of its long-term strategy, offering fans a flexible viewing experience across all digital devices. In this chat, we're going to talk about how Anouk and the 11 Sports team have dealt with the impact of the coronavirus pandemic, explore some key sports broadcasting themes, and take a quick look at what sports OTT might look like in the future. Before we chat to Anouk, let's see what 11 Sports is all about.
The time. The effort. The pain. The strength. The passion. Spirit. Success, the courage. You sacrificed it all for the love of the game. Dreams, respect, enthusiasm. You gained it all from the love of the game. This is 11 Sports.
We can't really start anywhere other than the coronavirus pandemic. 11 Sports has focused on three pillars during the lockdown: building for the future, which we will come to later, humanitarian support, and engaging viewers in new and innovative ways. Let's talk about the latter first, if we can. In the absence of most live sport, what sort of fan engagement and new content have you tried, and what's been the response?
Well, we are a relatively new broadcaster. We are agile and used to moving quickly and innovating to find solutions. And I think we are very lucky to have lots of creative people in our teams around the world. So I believe we've been in a quite strong position to adapt to these times. Maybe to summarize what we've done, we have been fortunate to have some live sports within the group, with live baseball and basketball in Taiwan. And we've really worked hard to maximize that, to bring it to fans around the world. And we'll touch more on that in detail, I believe, in a minute. Also, we have worked on creating new live programming for our fans in the esports area. So we have, during lockdown, broadcasted already 200 esports events. So we've created our own formats in Portugal, giving fans the chance to participate together with well-known content creators and athletes. But also we worked with our rights holders partners to show lots of their events too. We created a series of creative live talk shows with interviews with sports personalities, allowing our viewers to participate directly in that. And obviously we aired a lot of archive. There's lots of archive available, but what we did is we packaged it in a different way to make it more attractive and more compelling to our fans. In Belgium, for example, we had the all day with you concept. Everybody's at home all day, so we decided to be with them all day as well. And we focused on another iconic sports story each day, either a game or a team, and broadcasted that across all the platforms in the market. In Portugal, we did reruns of the Champions League quarterfinals at the scheduled kickoff times for the postponed games. We had a live presentation from Pedro Pinto to create some excitement around those games. So we tried to be creative around archive, and we've seen that actually worked. And obviously, we had non-live content as well. Thanks to the media companies that we have in our Acer Ventures portfolio. So we have a digital production studios vertical with Neo, our own production studio, but also our collaboration with Otro, Whistle Sports, allowed us to bring non-live content to our platforms as well. So we brought Take Us Home, the Amazon documentary, to Portugal and Taiwan. We had auto programming with stars like Neymar, Messi, Dybala on Portugal, Belgium, Italy. So we had quite a lot of content that we would offer to our fans.
One of the things I know that you were doing previously, which sort of links into that, is the watch together idea, which I know is really caught on during the lockdown. I know lots of broadcasters have now done that. But 11 Sports was actually one of the first sort of ones that I noticed to use that concept. How's that gone during lockdown? Has that proved to be useful? And actually, is this something that you think might continue to be popular, especially with behind closed doors sport taking place?
So Watch Together is actually, we call a Skype-style tool that allows fans to watch their favorite sport together with friends in the same virtual room. So you see each other and you can comment on the game you are experiencing. It has proven very powerful way for us to bring people together, especially now in times where people are stuck at home and can't go out with their friends to a game. So during COVID, we used the tool, because normally, obviously, we use it on live games to the purpose of archive games. So we brought in athletes, for example, to rewatch classic matches and stream that to fans. An example, the Belgian team got the members of the Belgian national hockey team in and watched again their Euro Hockey Championship semi-final against Germany from last year and comment on that. So it was quite interesting for fans and for hockey fans to learn from actually the team on how they experienced that. So it brings another level of engagement to the content you are airing. And obviously last weekend with the Bundesliga return to Portugal and Belgium, we used it on live games again, which was great. As for which sports or games it works best, I would say the bigger matches, because the ones that you already talk about with your friends and family, where you converse on Twitter, for example. But we see that Watch Together basically proved to work for all sports. And as I said, no more than ever, when people want to connect, fans want to be part of a community, that Watch Together tool really helps to offer that to our fans.
Absolutely. One thing that's happened a lot during this lockdown period, and I can vouch this personally, is that people have been trying new things. I mean, I'd never conducted a interview over Zoom until 8 weeks ago, as an example. So a lot of testing, a lot of R&D has gone on. I'm just wondering if you've done anything that maybe hasn't worked quite how you thought it might do, or there's anything you've learned from this sort of testing and trial process that maybe you can take forward.
Yeah, not everything has been perfect, of course. We have tested a lot. Not all formats have worked as we expected them to work. But I think in these times, it's also a time to, really experiment, try stuff, test it out as you go, improve, listen to what our fans tell you, and work from that. So I think we have learned a lot on really taking a next step in that engagement with fans, which we'll continue to use after this period, of course. I think that in general, the biggest lesson what we have learned in all the creative things that we have done and all the creative content that we have brought, that actually nothing can really replace the excitement of live sports. This is what our fans are used to watch. This is the core of our existence. And as we saw with the Taiwanese baseball coming back, we saw the impact of that live content. But obviously there's nothing much that we can do at this stage to then try to deal with it.
We'll touch on the Taiwanese baseball in a moment, actually, because it's actually quite an interesting little case in point. But before we get there, though, I'm quite interested in some of the other things that you were doing during lockdown. The content being made available for free is very interesting. I mean, clearly there are some commercial reasons for that as well, but more importantly, I think the free-to-air funnels that you've used, so your Facebooks and Twitters and Twitch, for example, and the Taiwanese baseball being an example of something that you've made available there. I guess you could say that for a pay TV operation, that putting stuff out for free could be quite risky, but you've been fairly happy to do that. I'm just wondering what the thought process was.
Yeah, we are a pay platform in most of our markets, so it's kind of typical for a pay platform to offer a lot of things for free. But we understand as well that these are challenging times for everyone, and that sport really can play a role in raising morale, keeping people entertained while stuck at home. And we as a sports platform have the opportunity to help with that. From a business point of view, offering the service for free in Italy and Portugal, while we still, as I explained, have a lot of interesting content still on the channels, it helped us to manage churn, so to keep people stick to the service. And once the competitions resume and once we get more live content, we hope to keep the level of subscribers that we have and grow from there. But it also has supported our 11 Sports brand in the Taiwanese market, where we got 7 million views in 7 days on Twitter alone. So that helped. But of course, it's not a sustainable model. And we have big rights bills to pay. So without the support from rights holders or advertisers, it's something that we cannot afford to keep for free forever, which we want to.
Something you mentioned earlier was esports, and again, that's another thing that's been very on trend in the last couple of months. Many broadcasters have used that as a way of filling their channels. Now, there are obviously many reasons why you would focus on competitive gaming, not least because you don't need to be. Social distancing is not an issue within a video game, but I'm just wondering how that strategy might evolve beyond COVID-19, because I know that esports is a big part of where you see 11 Sports going.
Yeah, esports was already in our long-term plans. So we were building on structural esports property, and the current situation was an opportunity for us to accelerate our plans, test the water, learn, and see how it went. So as I said, we did 200 esports events over the past few weeks, which is a lot, and we've learned a lot from that. And we have done quite some interesting things. If I look at the esports racing series that we did in Portugal with fans to participate with pro drivers, was really engaging, really fun to see. Portugal launched as well their own esports football tournament to support UNICEF a few weeks ago with a line of Portuguese football players. But also worked with the rights holders and their own esports properties. NBA 2K in Belgium. I live in Belgium and I've seen it, so I was quite engaged with that. You have Courtois and Lukaku actually playing it. Martinez being there, commenting on Lukaku's skills was quite fun to see. And in Belgium, I think Luxembourg, Poland, Portugal, Italy, and Myanmar, we also did the Switch Digital 5. So the first e-cycling competition that was organized by Valen. So quite a lot of things, and we will continue to do so. And the long-term plan for us is to build out really a new esports vertical.
It's interesting that you mentioned the sports stars playing video games. There's been a lot of that in the last few weeks. Amazing how much footballers, cricketers and motor racing drivers are quite happy to spend their time playing the PlayStation, etc. On perhaps a slightly more serious note, it's very important to note that you also did some humanitarian work as an organisation during, and are still doing indeed during the pandemic. I wonder if you just outline why you did what you did and why you did it.
Yeah, we are a sports platform, but we are also people, and we are all together in this crisis. So we wanted to do what we can do to help, and what we have is our a global media network. So what we did and proposed is to use that to help spread the vital health messages. So some of the things that we have done, and we work closely with the World Health Organization on a few things. So we supported their safe hands and healthy at home messages through all of our social network and on air on our channels. We broadcasted One World Together at Home concert, which raised $130 million. And it's maybe a bit strange for a sport channel to have like a music concert on, but I think we had the ability to do so. So I felt we should participate in this one as well. And also had plenty of local initiatives, for example, in Portugal, where we raised funds for actually supporting local causes in the market.
Excellent. I think before we talk about the future in more detail, I'd quite like to take a step back briefly if we can. Your first role, for example, at 11 Sports was establishing the Belgian operation, which has really gone from strength to strength and is now the leading sports platform in the country. I'm just wondering how that launch has helped to shape the rest of the organisation and maybe how it's shaped your view of the sports OTT and sports broadcast market in a more general level.
Yeah, I joined 11 Sports straight from the beginning, almost 5 years ago, and Belgium was one of the first markets we started, which I launched and built a team and did everything from scratch. It was really exciting. Wasn't easy, but because Belgium is and was a very established and very closed market with a few players that just were happy to live together in that market. And I can say that we really have democratized access and distribution in that market, and which is core in everything we do. We now have 100% distribution in that market, next to all deals with all the platforms. OTT, of course, was key in that strategy. So now with more operations in multiple territories, we take these learnings to optimize operations, to innovate together, create one digital platform together that we can launch in all of our territories, create compelling tools like the Watch Together tool that we talked about, make sure that all of our markets from an operational level can take that next step more quickly than the first market we launched in.
Thank you. Let's flip that on its head. Let's look forward now. Let's see how we see things going in the new normal. I don't think we can ever return to what was normal.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think we will see a long-lasting impact. But the 11 Sports has kind of carried on with its trajectory anyway. So I know that you've secured some premium sports rights even during lockdown. I mean, the Pro League in Belgium is a big one. DTM Touring Cars Series in Poland was another one I noticed. And you developed partnerships with the likes of FIBA, which is going to be very important. With those things in mind, I'm wondering what the priorities will be for 11 Sports in the coming months.
Continue to be bold and positive, I think. Secure and keep securing new rights, explore new territories, and build new partnerships. If you look, you mentioned the Jupiler Pro League. It's actually a really important step for us because it's actually the first time that a top league trusted a fairly new player like 11 Sports to have these kind of rights. But also, we will be looking at increasing our focus to the unserved and underserved fan. So the Italy model, for example, as a template we will use to expand our OTT offering, or OTT only offering. In Italy we have Serie C, Serie D, and gives fans the access to follow their home and away teams for the first time. They were never able to do that. So that will be part of our strategy going forward.
The favourite word for anybody who works in pay television is churn, and you have mentioned this already, but just to go back to that momentarily, you mentioned keeping things open and free during the lockdown was a good way of reducing churn. I was just wondering if you had any other suggestions, any ideas, or what your opinions were on the key things when it comes to reducing and keeping churn low.
Yeah, of course, being flexible on pricing and offering things for free during these times, which helps in keeping your fans on your platform. But if you look at our slogan for the fans, it's just more than a slogan, it's more than a statement. It really puts fans in the center of all that we do. And I think that is key to build a long-term relationship with your fans. Build that relationship on all of our platforms. We invest quite a lot on our social media outlets to engage with fans on a daily basis, even if there is no live on our channels. And we strongly believe that is key to build that community, is key to keep people subscribe to your service, and obviously keep churn low.
Is user experience still a vital part of this? I know that it's one of the things that has been talked about over many, many months, many years, about certainly when you're using OTT and streaming, that the user experience still has to be, excuse the phrase, as good as broadcast. Is that still the case? Is the user experience still an essential part of keeping churn levels low?
I think that user experience is important, and then if you look at our platform, our OTT platform, we continuously to keep improving our offering and our platform technically as well. Make sure that our streams are up to the highest standards, offering new and innovative tools. Watch Together is, I think, the most successful tool that we have. It's available only on our OTT platform. So if you're typically a user that watches a traditional stream, you don't have that experience. So we strongly believe that we can bring a much better user experience on OTT than on the typical traditional broadcast, and we'll continue to do so. So I think, yes, it's important.
Thank you. Last question from me. On a general level, if you're able to look into sort of a crystal ball and look to the future, you've got a good experience, you've got an excellent pedigree in the industry, so I think you're well placed to make some sort of predictions, shall we say. How do you see the OTT market for sport panning out in the coming months and years? Is it going to become more competitive, for example?
I wish I had a crystal ball, like many people would want to. What we have seen is that, for example, OTT has been growing for some time now. And I believe now with this experience, it will accelerate. People now are used to using it more and turning more to OTT services. We see a lot of small OTT initiatives in the market and new ones popping up. So I strongly believe that there will be a consolidation in the market as well. And as 11 Sports, we want to play a bigger role in this. But also the way content is produced is changing rapidly. So there is no longer a need to have like the sophisticated systems that you had before. So that opens up a whole other opportunity of bringing more content and more live content to underserved audience, as we do, for example, in Italy. So that combination, I strongly believe that OTT is set to really take off and grow more than it ever has done before.